Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We got back with me, the Zamzam, MBA candidate from SBM TBA, Jakarta campus. I would like to share a brief about my essay on impact on carbon pricing and border tax adjustment on Indonesian producer. So yeah, let's get to it. Okay, in this short slides, I would like to utilize the DMAIC formula to share my thoughts on the topics. Okay, as you know, the background of this matter, since we had the Industrial Revolution where machines are starting to be developed, it was only 100 years after that we started to realize the importance of sustainability. That's where in the late millennia, the UN started the conference in Kyoto and generated the Kyoto Protocol. Together with the new millennia, there was also the MDG. Before we recognize Sustainable Development Goal, SDGs, there was the MDGs, which only covers 8 points out of the 17 points of the SDGs, and before then it was updated with Paris 2016 with the Paris Accord, and continues until now, where it strictly binds every country to involve their part on climate change in particular. That's where Indonesia also play in hand with the 2021 Indonesian President Regulation number 98 on carbon pricing, and in the year 2023 the Indonesian Stock Exchange, well, you can call it exchange on carbon, so carbon exchange can probably become the market to trade and to buy surpluses or deficits on every country carbon emission in order to offset them by 2025. Hi Ade. The measure is quite clear. If you want to know, after the Kyoto Protocol was developed, there was the intergovernment panel on climate change, which developed the emission factors for every activity, every economic activity which can generate carbon footprint. That's when, and also been developed, every country will set up their own pricing on every carbon emission produced, and this would affect the differences. If you see the gap between developed countries to developing countries, as you can see, some of the pricings are quite varies from from $2 per ton to $100 per ton of carbon emission, but the end goal is remain the same, so to reach a maximum 1.5 degrees Celsius in 2050, and that's what we're heading to with this emission environmental issue for all of us. Okay, in the analysis, I'm creating a small simulation on how a monthly period of a business can affect to each other. This is a live data that I'm sharing you during the, how do you call it, a trial period. And if you can see, if we are using the activity and calculate them based on European Union carbon border adjustment measure with price of nearly $82 per ton, this may contribute more than 7% of the P&Ls. This will cut automatically the profits that is earned by a company, by a producer, And meanwhile, if we are using the Indonesian national carbon value, which is $2 per ton, this will only contribute less than 0.2% of the P&Ls, which I think will much benefited, more beneficial to the producer. Okay, so as everyone can see, the difference, losing 7% of profit in the P&L will affect a lot to the business. That's why I think Indonesia as a sovereign state needs to develop a clear and predictable policy roadmap. Before Jokowi administration, we have the local content policy, and now it's getting more lenient towards unlimited import quota, so which is beat us, particularly in steel industry. It can affect and defeats our domestic production itself. So we need to create a clear and predictable roadmap for everyone. And then second of all, we need to create a phased approach and support mechanism. So instead of punishing, we would need to start support the Indonesian businesses by providing incentives and so on. We can start with the big projects, for example, the steel, cement industry, and also the energy sector domestically, and this will develop a multiplier effect on the domestic supply chain, so we can be more independent on domestic products and self-sufficient, not just in manufacturing, but particularly in the energy sector, as Prabowo administration wishes for. And then last but not least, the idea, I think we need to boost market participation and public recognition. So not only the industries or the producer, the companies that needs to be educated, but I think all the buzzer and I call it netizen in Indonesia should also be educated properly in order to have the program successful. Okay, the final slide, we changed the control, the C, into the conclusion. Basically, the conclusion consists of the challenge. As we see this now, there will be some cost implication, definitely, towards Indonesian producer, whether it's operational expenses or to invest some capital into the business would also need some would also take some depreciation out of into the books consideration. So it will affect in terms of costs for the producer, and then there will be a lot of VUCA in this economic and business landscape, not only in terms of the implementation of the net zero transition, but also how will the penalties or the implication outside of costs will take place. And the third would probably, there's a lot of challenges for Indonesian producer in terms of social impact. We're talking downsizing, right sizing, and also whatever impacts the community in the surrounding area will have some social impact to the business. Meanwhile, we also have some positive opportunity where we will push everyone to innovate. For example, the carbon capture storage is one of the ideas that is being developed, and we definitely would need some pilot project on that one. Second of all, the green industry and also the domestic supply chain can also be developed. Instead of exporting our goods, we can have end-to-end or a sustainable value chain domestically in Indonesia. And the third would probably the institutionalism concept that is being brought up in this class. We will have some agreed upon implementation or resolution by all parties, and hopefully we can be delivered or implemented in phase or in stages, so it will have a a smooth transition towards the 2030, the next gateway before the 2030. And yeah, hopefully we can have a net zero emission targets in 2050 achieved by especially Indonesia. Thank you. I think that's all. Thank you. I think that will be all of the presentation. I mean, appreciate to learn this energy economics. It's way advanced than what I thought. There's plenty of new concepts, which being introduced in the class, and yeah, it's a real challenge as well for me to deliver the essay. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and see you next time. Bye.